The Senate's still going through their evaluation process. We'll wait and see as we get to the final negotiations on a gaming bill, what's actually in and what's actually out of that particular product. Certainly, the balance sheet put forth that we have been discussing, looks at about 250 to 265 million in revenue from gaming. That is not accidental. We need that amount of revenue plus the JUA that we passed today, plus the bill that we passed yesterday, so that we can not just complete last year's budget process this year, but also we got to be able to do the non-preferreds. And we need the gaming bill to be able to complete that process. So, I expect that the Senate's going to meet the expectation of their caucus, just like we met our expectation yesterday. And then we can conclude everything, get the non-preferreds done, and move on to other issues. It balances a budget. It takes care of the deficit that was really a one-time deficit last year, about $1.5 billion. However we got there, people can argue about, but still it's an unfortunate situation. Again, not the ideal manner moving forward, but we're left with a bunch of choices that none of them were ideal. This was the one that could pass. Hopefully the other bills pass accordingly, including the gaming bill and the non-preferreds along with it, and we move on to other issues. Hopefully this time next year we will have completed a budget months ago, and we'll be gearing up for other issues that folks want to talk about. For somebody like myself, I'd like to talk about a revamp of our tax system overall, from corporate taxes to our property tax system. And I think that's a discussion a number of folks, not just Republican but Democrats, and the governor's talked a little bit about too. That could be meaningful reform that could last generations, but we've got to get through the budget process to be able to talk about those sort of things. Look, it's going to be added to the voting schedule. People have the opportunity to file amendments, take a look at it, different perspectives. That's the type of bill that sounds simple. It's far more complicated. I'm sure there are going to be various perspectives from all different sides to it. We'll air it out. It'll get its time on the floor, and we'll see where it goes. Any bill would eventually go through the Appropriations Committee, but it goes through second consideration in the amendment process first. Anything that can be done gets done with 102 members. There's no procedural things that we're going to do to delay that vote. It gets its day in court, just like a number of other issues members want to talk about. Not as long as everybody lives up to their end of the bargain. Certainly the gaming legislation is necessary to do that, but certainly the non-preferreds are needed as well to complete the actual budget package. But look, takes care of last year, this year, and projects forward to next year. Look, I just think folks make this out to be far more simple than it is. You're talking about four different sides to that equation. Everybody wants to focus on the dollar amount and the tax, but you've got the environmental regulation policy, you've got the actual distribution model, how much is still going back to the local communities, the environmental programs versus the general fund. You have the landowner protections, the Minimum Royalty Act. You have the forced pooling issue that most folks don't know what it means, but is a very, very controversial side of that equation. So, there's a lot of components to it that I think folks are underestimating. Could there be a scenario where industry sits down with folks who are interested in a Marcellus Shale tax? Yeah, certainly there could. I don't work for the industry and I don't work for the environmental advocates. I'm trying to navigate the legislative process, and we'll see how it plays out.